It's important to note also that this outage was not a result of a cyber attack. I know you've now heard from the minister, you've heard from Rogers' CEO themselves, but it is worth repeating. As stated by Rogers, it was caused by a fault in a maintenance upgrade, and Rogers must take the necessary steps to prevent another crisis like this one from happening. As noted by Minister Champagne, Rogers' communications during the outage was unacceptable. Communications with the government was poor, with other organizations, and most importantly, communications with the public and their customers. Rogers said they'll do better. The CRTC will make sure they do. So, as the regulator, what have we done so far? Our first step on July 12th was to request a detailed account from Rogers as to why and how this happened. But more importantly, what measures Rogers is putting in place to prevent such future outages. We received Rogers' response on Friday and immediately began reviewing the information to ensure completeness and adequacy. We are now in the process of determining next steps. But I will assure you that we will act quickly. We'll also continue to work with ISED, with the Canadian Security Telecommunications Advisory Committee. I'm henceforth going to say CSTAC. It's easier, in order to implement the 3 objectives already identified by Minister Champagne. And in addition, we'll be cooperating with other government organizations and the industry to identify and address any outstanding technical issues that have been identified. And this will include work done by the CRTC's Interconnection Steering Committee's Emergency Services Working Group, also known as ESWIG, as the effective delivery of 911 calls is, of course, crucial. Nous croyons à la nécessité d'être transparent.
We believe in the need to be transparent. We want Rogers to disclose all information that the Canadian public needs with respect to the outage.
Rogers. Network convergence and climate change events are increasingly putting our networks at risk. And that is why, in addition to addressing this outage, along with the initial strong actions announced by Minister Champagne, we will be taking longer-term action to ensure all telecommunications providers better protect Canadians.
Do you accept some responsibility for not having adequate oversight that has led to this Rogers national outage?
I'm certainly not trying to understate the significance of the CRTC's role, but perhaps it's best to take a step back. I would indicate that the 911 network was fully functional and has a 99.49 reliability rate. It is operated by 3 carriers, by Bell, by TELUS, and SaskTel. The issue here is that Rogers lost complete connectivity, and so it was unable to pass on 911 calls. I would also distinguish it from the earlier outage, which was of the radio access network. I don't want to start throwing around technical terms. It related only to the wireless segment, and the radio access network was down, which meant that 911 calls did go through. They would go to any other carrier with an active antenna in reach of the 911 call, as is designed.
Okay, thank you. So I understand the 911 action plan came out in 2014, and one of the areas was reviewing how network outages could affect services. So over the past 6 years from then to this outage, how was it that something like this was not adequately prepared for?
I might ask my colleague, Mr. Murray, to add in a second, but I guess one way of saying it is it was very difficult to prepare for something that is truly unprecedented, in the sense that this impacted the core of Rogers' network, which meant, as you heard from their CEO this morning, and I think elsewhere, they were unable to connect. It is a very unusual circumstance. Rogers, as you pointed out, had an outage Other companies have outages from time to time, and it will affect some services, and we follow up with them in each case. But this was unprecedented, and we now need to focus on how do we assure in this type of situation emergency services are connected.
Now, what are the measures that you can adopt to make sure that these events don't happen again? Well, we have various tools at our disposal. We can ask Rogers questions. If they don't answer, I forgot the word in French, but we can always look at administrative monetary penalties. That's a possibility. But we probably won't need this kind of thing.
Then what could be the results then? Is it going to be financial? Will it be any criminal? Will it be the consequences for people that couldn't get through 911 or have other problems that we don't even maybe know right now? But who's going to be subscribing those penalties? People want to know.
Well, first of all, whether or not penalties are required is a matter still to be determined. We have a number of tools at our disposal, the most obvious of which is administrative monetary penalties, but they are used to encourage compliance. They are not meant or designed to be punitive, which is made clear in the legislation. And obviously, we do not have jurisdiction over criminal matters.